Marvel Comics recently revealed their new g.o.d.s series, and only 2 issues in, it has completely altered the Marvel Universe as we know it, and we're gonna show you how. What's up, my comic comrades? We hope you guys are having a great holiday weekend, and we're here to add to the fun with one of Marvel's most important recent comic titles, and that is the g.o.d.s title, written by Jonathan Hickman. With this mini-series, Hickman will literally be rewriting the mythos of the Marvel gods, what they mean, and who they are in the Marvel Universe. I know comic book events say it all the time, but this will legitimately change a lot of things for the Marvel Universe, specifically the greater powers that are within it. In any case, we have the first 2 issues, and it's already introducing a ton of new things and setting up many more changes. So let's get into it. But before we do, a quick reminder about the Black Friday Cyber Monday sales we have running on our variant apparel and merch at variantcomics.com. We also have a huge sale running for our parent company's digital assets for creators and filmmakers at triunedigital.com. Both sales only run through tomorrow, November 27th, so jump on those right away. Links for both are in the description. All right, issue 1 of g.o.d.s starts off with some sort of crazy event going on in New York City as Doctor Strange and a mysterious dude watch on. Strange says, "I'm too old for this," with the man replying, "No, I'm old. You're just tired." Strange then says, "It wears at me, the endless war between good and evil, and the part we play in it." The man replies, "And you would be good, I suppose, Stephen Strange?" Stephen answers, "I fight for the light, for causes better than I, and for fate, based in forever, and her sisters, hope and life. That is who I am." The man then hands Stephen a mysterious book saying, "Sure sounds nice, good speech, but you really didn't answer the question, did you?" Strange just looks at him for a second before saying, "I am good. And you win?" Win then turns back and looks at him saying, "Stephen, my boy, who can tell the difference anymore?" Keen-eyed Marvel fans will remember this is actually the preview pages that we were given in Avengers X-Men 1 from Free Comic Book Day earlier this year, which was the first appearance of this brand new character, Win, co-created by Jonathan Hickman. And now we're finally gonna learn who the heck this guy is. I actually will say before we start getting into the meat, most of the characters that are introduced in issues 1 and 2 are brand new characters from this g.o.d.s series, as again, you'll see Hickman is clearly trying to build out the gods and greater powers in the Marvel Universe. Anyway, the comic then takes us to 10 years ago. We find out she's waiting for her husband at the bar, and as she's waiting for him, she starts talking to the bartender, saying how he's always late. We then learn that her name is Aiko Maki. We also find out her husband is Win, who's out on some sort of mission with his apprentice, Dimitri. Now this mission, or assignment rather, leads them to a secret magical masquerade ball of sorts that is invitation only, and you have to be wearing a mask to attend. The 2 people running the ball tell him, "Do not fret, as we understand eagerness often leads to forgetfulness, and hunger is the mother of all impatience. We have some you can purchase at a cost which is barely worth mentioning. Shall we barter?" Win says, "I can't do this tonight," with Dimitri saying, "It's okay, I got it," saying, "My name is Dimitri. I am proxy in service to the natural order of things, and the chain apprentice of the one and only avatar of the powers that be." So that right there finally tells us who Win is. He's the avatar of the powers that be. Now the powers that be is the entity in charge of everything magical and odd in the Marvel Universe, and it works through its avatar for matters that involve Earth. It's opposed to the natural order of things, who are the entity in charge of everything scientific. And his proxy or apprentice Dimitri actually works for the natural order of things, but for whatever reason, he is the chained apprentice of Win. Now I want to make it clear, these are brand new factions or elements in the Marvel Universe. The powers that be was first mentioned in Doctor Strange Volume 6, Issue 6 in August earlier this year. And Dimitri saying he's proxy in service of the natural order of things is its very first mention ever. So this issue, g.o.d.s 1, is the first mention of the natural order of things. And don't worry, as the issue goes on, we get a bit more understanding of the powers that be in the natural order of things, but it's still vague at this point. And speaking of important comic issues, today's sponsor, CBCS, sent over these signed and graded beauties. CBCS is a household name in comic book grading services. They provide professional and unbiased third-party certification and grading services for your comic books. And their awesome verified signature program allows you to have non-witness signatures expertly verified. They also offer top-notch comic book and comic book magazine pressing and cleaning to preserve and increase the value of your key issues. Overall, they do a ton more, but what's been getting a lot of hype lately is their brand new labels they just launched. They've basically been listening to collectors' feedback and just upgraded their labels, so the grading pops on another level, making it super easy to see the true condition of your book. They also introduced a new cutting-edge UV strip at the top as an added security feature that guarantees each CBCS encapsulated book is the real deal and fully verified. CBCS grades are also rocking the new logo, a symbol of momentum featuring a modern font while keeping the iconic shield on the slabs. If you're a collector, you gotta check out what CBCS has going on, from grading to encapsulation and pressing services. Just visit cbcscomics.com and use code VARIANT15 to get 15% off, or click the link in in the description below. All right, let's get back to God's issue 1. After Dimitri tells the mass hosts who they are and who they work for, they quickly find out that these mass hosts are wearing masks to hide their true identities. Dimitri then uses his device to see who they are, and it tells him they are the Baron and Baroness of Wolverhampton, Lord of the Land, and Lady of the Lake. As we see, they're essentially a humanoid wolf and fish. Wynn at this point clearly knows who they are and says, so you set human traps disguised as parties. Then you invite all the local magical pretenders of means, cast some low-level incantations that makes the lights flicker or something, and after that, when everyone is having a good time, you pick your victim and make a meal of them. Right? To which the Lady of the Lake says, it's just a few souls, and we're very careful who we choose. But we find out tricking and luring humans there to eat them is not the real reason Wynn is there. Nope, he's there because of a demon. They tell him the demon is in the bathroom, and after a brawl with it, he defeats it. At this point, we basically learn that Wynn is kind of sort of Marvel's version of John Constantine. They have a lot of similarities, the two biggest things being his personality and demeanor is very much like Constantine, and he deals with magic and supernatural entities. After defeating the demon and completing his mission, he finally meets up with his wife Aiko at the bar, where she basically tells him, so I got offered a promotion that may or may not affect our marriage. You see, we find out she works for the opposing faction of the powers that be, aka the natural order of things, and they just offered her a promotion to become the 97th Centaur. And she's been wanting to do this her whole life since the natural order of things deals with everything scientific, which is what she loves. Accepting the position would put her at the epicenter of that for the Marvel Universe. She would be one of the 100 Centaur, but if she takes the job, she'll have to divorce her husband, as he's the avatar of the powers that be, and the two are on opposing factions, they're at war with one another. Essentially, the natural order of things and the powers that be warred in ancient times until detente was agreed. Each basically think their way is the one true way. However, if there was a marriage between the two factions, this could put the two at war with one another once again. The ironic part is that they both serve the gods, hence the name of the series, and those gods would be the omnipotent forces of the Marvel Universe, aka Eternity, Infinity, and the Living Tribunal, and one could only assume the one above all. But hey, how many times in history have people serving or fighting for the same thing been opposed to each other? In any case, she takes the job and he says, we could just lie, we could still make it work, and she basically says, yeah, that's not gonna be a thing. You're gonna have to sign the papers and divorce me. But when he says nope, she pulls out a gun and says, so it's a declaration then. Just know I love you, as she shoots him in the face. This brings us back to the present, because remember, that was all 10 years ago. In the present, we see that Wynn has a scar on his right eye because remember, his wife shot him 10 years ago. But he's the avatar of the powers that be, aka the gods of the Marvel Universe, so you're not gonna kill him easy. Anyway, we now see Wynn and Dimitri go to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where Juan takes them to the Library of Worlds. We basically see all the prominent scientific and magical beings in the Marvel Universe have gathered there, with Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme, and Dr. St. Mar, the second Centaur of the natural order of things. And him and Dr. Strange are basically saying a Babylon event has begun. Babylon events basically means something that could destroy or rewrite the entire universe. Doctor Strange then goes on to tell everyone like Amadeus Cho, Dr. Doom, Mr. Terrific, and Brother Voodoo, and the proto-mage Kubik's Core has stolen the staff of the Living Tribunal. We then see that Core has broken into AIM and is now taking over the Prometheus pit. Core then says while throwing an agent in there, your science and your curiosity, you drilled a hole into existence to mine for exotic matter. It never asked the question, where do my actions lead? What do my actions feed? That's right, the Prometheus pit is a hole in existence. It is a portal in our world, the macroverse, to the microverse. And dude with the Living Tribunal staff has access to it, hence Babylon event. Now, long story short, Wynn would do a series of trades starting with the Collector to gain access to a book that would enable him to stop Core from destroying the universe. It's very much something John Constantine would do. He tricked Core into reading the book. The problem is this book was written one word at a time over 100 years by the Grigori. It's a unique artifact of mystic lore that possesses the power to erase knowledge from its user. So when Core read it, it erased his knowledge, aka he was no longer able to destroy the universe. Wynn then says the longer you read it, the more it eats at your mind. And once you start, you can't break it. Someone has to stop you. The issue then ends as it started, with a scene that big event at the beginning was the actions of Core. But on the last page, Aiko arrives giving Wynn a big kiss saying, thanks for saving us, alluding that their divorce might not be so simple. But with that, we go into issue 2. Issue 2 starts off with Dr. St. Mar telling his fellow Centaur, I have spoken with God. They are not pleased. Not since the natural order of things negotiated our current compact and retreated from the battle of reality has the Centum found itself in such a fragile state. We have lost half our number of 100, and of the 5 and 20 primes, only we 3 remain. The Centum is weak, as we are weak, so too is God. Aiko eventually says, are we really still married to using the word God, especially when we know that omniscience and omnipotence are just super consciousnesses scaling in tandem with an expanding universe? I don't know, I just think it feels a little antiquated, which is a very unique perspective and something I hope they revisit. However, a god shows up talking through Mar saying, We see many events, other Babylons, other summers. We see blood and chaos in the end of all things. We see the hand of oblivion, and we see you weak and wanting. With those who must not be named, we share the great compact, and now on this day and in this age, those words are comfort to you. Gather strength, gather numbers, gather minions. Aiko then says, I guess God still works. Mara then tells them the natural order of things have spoken. The word of our God is clear, and the only acceptable response is for us to act on their wishes. Agreed? As they agree. We are then taken back to the sanctum where Brother Voodoo, Dr. Strange, Dimitri, Wynn, and so on want to know who sent Kor, where does he live, and who does he work for. So of course, they use magic to find this out. Elsewhere at the Columbia University, we see Aiko following and watching a girl named Mia before eventually giving her a card. We then see Mia meet up with her friends and then are taken back to the Sanctum Sanctorum where the magic users are using their powers to see where Kor's home is. But remember, because of reading that book from the previous issue, his mind is like a child now. So he sobs and cries to his home, which apparently is a box. They ask who the box belongs to, but before Strange could answer, as he knows, Dimitri just uses his thing of order pad. And it tells him it's a Skinner box, also called operant conditioning chamber. It is used to observe and program the behavior of a subject contained within. This one is a particular design made specifically to educate higher order magicians and scientists, and it belongs to the in-betweener. Anyway, we are then taken back to Mia, who out of curiosity goes to the book number that was written on the card given to her by Aiko. Long story short, we find out this girl's name is Mia Demaria, and Aiko is interested in her because apparently she has great magical potential, and because of that potential, she wants to study and observe her. But clearly there's more to Mia, and Aiko doesn't just want to study and observe her. She's obviously going to be a key component in the series. Anyway, at first Mia's like, who the heck are you? You're weird. I don't believe you that I have great magical potential, and so on. But curiosity gets the best of her, and she comes back and is like, all right, I'll choose this path and I'll go to the Library of Worlds with you. And there you have it, Friends Gods issues 1 and 2. It's been a really great series thus far, and definitely good for first-time Marvel readers, as most of the characters in the first 2 issues are brand new. But it's also good for long-time readers, as they're expanding upon and building on the gods and powerful beings of the Marvel Universe. We've already got the introduction of the powers that be and the natural order of things, and then somehow Mia is being thrown into the middle of this. So I'm very curious to see how this plays out and where Hickman and the rest of the team takes this. But it could certainly mean big things for Marvel, just like when Hickman revitalized the X-Men a few years ago. But what do you guys think of this series and the changes they're making? Let us know down in the comments. Otherwise, we'll see you next time when we talk about all things comics.